Welcome to episode 273 of Apartment Hacker. This is Mike Bruin at Apartment Hacker. It's my mission to tease out human potential in the multifamily space. So I read an article just the other day. In the article, it was about the multifamily space, and in the article, the gentleman that wrote it had called out the idea that our industry and some of the people in it are crotchety. They're old school, and he made a blanket statement that the entire industry was just terrible and crotchety and old school. And I found myself getting very angry about that. Like, I literally wanted to reach out to this guy and say, what are you talking about? You must work at the wrong place. And I say that on the premise that, I'm biased to the organization that I worked for, some of the organizations I worked for in the past, Equity Residential, Mills Properties, Radco Residential. These property management companies were fantastic. Did we have some things in our organization that were not great or needed work? Absolutely. But was the culture there, the environment there, conducive to the idea that we would grow and prosper? Absolutely. So the idea that the entire industry is crotchety is just bogus. It's bogus. But then I sat back and I thought about the article as a whole. It was unfair for me to take this one sentence out and say, that guy's crazy. When I thought about his article as a whole, he's absolutely right. We are so far behind as an industry, and I'm not saying anything that anyone else hasn't said. We're so far behind the times in this industry. We're so slow to adopt cutting-edge technologies. We're so slow to adopt leadership platforms and structures that will move the business forward, and we compete in a space where the technology firms that are out there are not open source. They're not fantastic. They don't speak to each other without paying huge fees to make that communication work. And those that are trying to make that happen are I don't know, whatever they are. I get in trouble if I name names, but it's frustrating to be in our space today when you can visualize the way that it could be, when you compare and contrast it to like an Uber or an Airbnb and some of the seamless ways that those platforms work in those spaces. And it's absolutely apparent that this business, this space is ripe for disruption. I just hope and pray that some of these bigger players, these bigger platforms in our space can come together, and they can grow up into the idea that if you make the pie bigger for everybody, it's better for everybody. Instead of trying to take your little slice or trying to take as much of the pie as you can without thinking about the larger whole, we're never going to move forward. And I hope that they can come together and make that a reality, at least in the last, say, 10 or 15 years I'll be in this space. But anyway, I'm going on and ranting about really no point, except that I want the space to move forward, and I want the players in the space to be open to that. So for whatever that's worth to you, take care. We'll talk to you again soon.